this is Angela from Natural Living Alchemy. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about lavender. And then once we're done sharing our information, I am going to be showing you how to make this beautiful, cooling lavender cocoa butter face cream. As you will see shortly, lavender has some amazing skin benefits that we can definitely tap into and utilize, but that is not all. So come and let us talk about all things lavender. I just want to remind you that I'm not a doctor. None of what is on this channel would be considered medical advice. It is here for education and entertainment purposes only. And it is up to you to talk to your healthcare professionals before following anything that I say. So let's talk about lavender. Our Latin name is Lavandula angustifolia. Common names would be lavandula, lavender, and lavandin. It comes to us from the Lamiaceae family of plants or the mint family of plants, and the parts used are typically the flowers, but we can also use the leaves. Let's begin by talking about the taste of lavender, and there are two main tastes that come up. The first one is bitter. So the bitter taste generally has an affinity for the digestive system, the liver, the gallbladder, as well as the pancreas. And this flavor typically stimulates bile production and secretion, gastric secretions, as well as pancreatic enzymes. Bitters tend to be cooling and drying, helping to drain excess fluid and dampness from the tissues. Our next taste is pungent. Now, the pungent flavor tends to have an affinity for the cardiovascular system, the digestive system, the respiratory system, as well as the nervous system. Pungents are typically the kitchen herbs that we refer to as spicy, but not necessarily hot. So pungent could be cayenne, but it could also be garlic and oregano. And this pungent taste is just an indication of the presence of essential oils. Pungents tend to be warming and stimulating to the tissues and the organs of the body. Now, one last thing, while it isn't necessarily a taste, I do find that the aroma of lavender kind of just reminds me of soap, while being very aromatic and a little bit sweet. But I don't necessarily notice that sweetness in the flavor itself. Herbal actions and bodily affinities. So what exactly is it that lavender likes to do in the body, and where specifically in the body does lavender just really like to go? We're going to start with the nervous system. So any herb working on the nervous system has a primary function of neural regulation by working on the brain, which is our organ, and the nerves, which is the tissue. Lavender contains some pretty high levels of essential oils, and these essential oils have a profound effect on the central nervous system, as well as your nervous system that's actually in your digestive tract, called your enteric nervous system. So it can help sedate as well as having a spasmolytic action on those tissues. It can help to tone and strengthen the nervous system. And it's through this particular action that it helps to clear anxiety and depression, as well as insomnia, hypertension, indigestion, and tension headaches, as it's the toning of the nervous system itself that restores the nerves, and it can have an impact on those different things that you might be experiencing. Lavender is an effective herb to use on children as well as the elderly, helping to promote more restful sleep and preventing frequent waking up during the night. Lavender is also specifically indicated for anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress, insomnia, as well as other forms of stress or nervous exhaustion. Lavender definitely has some nervine properties. And there has been studies showing that lavender oil is just as effective as lorazepam with no side effects. But again, I'm not a doctor. These are just maybe things that you can look into for yourself if you find yourself on that particular medication. So lavender can be used to help treat restlessness, nervousness, depression, as well as insomnia. And if you're wanting to address headaches, consider adding peppermint or eucalyptus essential oils on a compress and put that on your forehead. And that might provide you with the relief that you're looking for without necessarily having to go and grab an NSAID or like a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug class, which would be our aspirins, our Tylenols, our ibuprofens. Potentially, lavender might work just as well for you as what those do, but just give that a try for yourself. Lavender has a sedative effect when used as a tea or in aromatherapy, helping to move the nervous system into the parasympathetic state, so out of fight or flight and into rest and digest. Lavender is considered to be an exhilarant, meaning it can help lift you out of a stagnant emotional state, as well as something that can help relieve and prevent symptoms of anxiety. Next, we have a digestive system affinity. Any herb working on the digestive system has a primary function of digestion, assimilation, or elimination, and it does so by working on the stomach, the small and large intestines, as well as the pancreas, which is our organ, and muscle, mucosa, lymphatic, or nerve tissues. Many symptoms of stress will manifest within the digestive tract, and it might show up as nausea, bloating, and indigestion. The essential oil content may help move this congestion through stimulating the digestive process. Remember that bitter taste that we just talked about, as well as just calming your enteric nervous system. Lavender may help lower lipid and cholesterol levels. It holds a carminative action, and when taken internally, lavender can stimulate blood flow to the GI tract. It also holds some cholagogue properties, helping to stimulate the liver to produce bile, and this is an action that helps the body digest fats and oils. And lastly, within the digestive system, lavender has the ability to break up mucus within the throat and the stomach. We have a musculoskeletal affinity. So any herb working on this system has a primary function of bodily structure support by working on muscle, bone, or connective tissue. Lavender can help address chronic pain that is often associated with depression and anxiety, as well as sleep deprivation. And it may be a treatment for the pain associated with the shingles virus. We have a cardiovascular affinity. So any herb working on this system has a primary function of circulation through the heart, which is our organ, and through the muscle, nerve, blood, and plasma, which is the tissues. Lavender is considered to be cardioprotective, as it can help strengthen the mitochondrial membrane, helping to maintain the cell structure, thereby alleviating cardiac tissue damage. This action is due to the regulation of inflammation as well as oxidative stress. We have a respiratory system affinity. So any herb working on this system has a primary function of respiration via the lungs, which is our organ, and through the muscle, mucosa, or nerve, which is our tissues. Inhaling the essential oil of lavender can have a relaxing effect on the lungs, and it may also help open up constriction caused by asthma. Just know I am not telling you to replace your emergency inhaler with lavender, but it might be a temporary option. Now let's get into some of our skin affinities. We have some antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal, antiseptic, vulnerary, and inflammation modulating actions within the skin. So when applied externally, it has the ability to help heal and protect the body from wounds, bruises, and burns. Skin inflammations can greatly benefit from the application of lavender, as lavender can help address pain by modulating inflammation. When applied to burns and wounds, it can rapidly heal the skin. When applied to the gums, it might also help with gingivitis. When applied to ulcers or canker sores, it might also help clear those out. A strong oil infusion of lavender or a tincture can be applied to eczema, acne, varicose veins, minor infections, scabies, styes, insect bites, stings, head lice, gout, arthritic pain, as well as shingles can all be addressed. It can be applied to a bath to ease muscle tension and spasm after childbirth. It can be applied to the chest and inhaled as a treatment for chest infections, coughs, as well as colds. A tea or tincture diluted can be used as a gargle, and that can help with sore throats, tonsillitis, as well as hoarseness. And it can also be used as a mouthwash for ulcers, inflamed, and infected gums. And lastly, it can be used as a rubefacient when applied directly to the skin, which means it can help stimulate blood flow to the area by helping to create warmth and redness. So, as you can see, there is a lot with lavender. We have analgesic properties. Applying lavender directly to the skin can help relieve pain. We have vulnerary properties, helping to heal wounds throughout the digestive tract, but especially the intestines, and it can help heal wounds when applied directly onto the skin. We have a nootropic property. This means that it can enhance emotional and mental well-being while simultaneously promoting cerebral circulation. Nootropics are a category of plants that help protect the brain, improve cognitive function, as well as overall mood. So this could be used as a treatment for cognitive degeneration conditions such as Alzheimer's and dementia, but it could also be used for head trauma or injury, as the high antioxidant content can help protect against further degradation. Lavender has some anti-cancer potential, so it can help prevent the development of certain types of cancer, such as prostate, lungs, cervix, colon, as well as breast. We have some antioxidant effects, and the highest concentration of antioxidants are found in the flowers, the buds, and the stems of the plant. And lastly, we have an emmenagogue effect, as it has an ability to stimulate menses and therefore should be avoided in pregnancy. Next, let's talk about the signatures of lavender, and this is off of the theory of the doctrine of signatures, but just know signature, sign in nature. Every plant is stamped with its function and its use, and it is up to us to determine this language, and it is a language our ancestors knew. So, some of the signatures we have for lavender: the color suggests that it has a spasmolytic effect. The square stem is a nerve signature that has been used by Europeans as well as Native Americans. And lavender is considered to be a spider medicine. And these are just long, leggy medicines that stimulate the sympathetic nervous system. We have a couple different magical correspondences if you work with herbs in that way. So sipping on lavender water is said to bring you dreams and visions of your true love. Adding lavender to bath water can help drive evil spirits out of children. Worth a try if we have some cranky kids. Maybe just throwing them in a lavender bath will help calm them down. I'm sure that's actually what they meant by evil spirits, was just rambunctious children. Anyway, you can also work with lavender magically by hanging a bundle over a door that is said to keep out evil spirits and harmful intentions out of the home. Wearing a sprig of lavender can help ward off evil spirits or intentions. And lastly, adding 13 drops of lavender essential oil when washing your floor can help add protection to the home. Energetically, lavender is a bit cooling and warming, so we have a little bit of a contradiction there, but it really just depends on where lavender is going in the body and what it's doing. It is also relaxing and drying. Contraindications and precautions you would want to avoid during pregnancy or when breastfeeding. You never want to use the essential oil internally, and you do want to use caution when using the essential oil if you have low blood pressure. Just keep in mind, we do have some relaxing energetics, so that does make sense. We don't want to relax things too much. and it definitely does have an impact on our cardiovascular system. Common preparations and dosages of lavender would be tincture. We're looking at a 1:2 ratio, 60% alcohol, and you would do a 2 to 5 milliliter dose. You could use the dry flowers, maybe put 1 to 2 grams in a little pillow and just do some aromatherapy with it. You can take lavender in capsule form. You could take it as an infusion of maybe a teaspoon per cup, infused for 15 minutes. You could use it for aromatherapy. So essential oils could be an inhalant, and we could use this either with a steam or just a little herbal inhaler. You could use it as a massage oil diluted in a carrier oil. So 1 to 2% lavender to 1 ounce of carrier oil. You could put it in a bath. So you could do 100 grams of lavender infused in water. We're going to strain that and put that into your bath. And you can also eat lavender and use it for various culinary uses. Now we are going to channel a message through from the essence of lavender. Keep in mind, I might be getting one message. You might be getting something completely different. In the description box below, I will also have a video teaching you how to communicate with plants on your own. There's, I think, 3 different ways in the video so you can get your own messages. But, okay, so we are just going to start to connect our essence to the essence of the plant. And what I am getting, lavender wants us to relax. It is just time to chill out. You have carried so much of the world on your shoulders. It is time to put it down. Nobody asked you to carry it for this long. Let's relax and have fun. Ooh. That is just a lovely little message from lavender. I'd be curious to see what you happen to get for your own messages. All right, we have just a couple additional notes about lavender. So there are lots of medicinal benefits that can be gained just by using lavender as an aromatherapy treatment. Lavender essential oil actually stimulates the brain's limbic system. And it's the limbic system that plays a role in regulating emotions, behaviors, memory, and motivation. The name lavender itself is derived from the Latin word lavare, which means to wash. So back in Elizabethan and Victorian times, lavender was used to perfume clothes and linens when washing and bathing weren't such common practices. And lastly, fresh and dried lavender spread across the floor in your home could deter pests such as mice, flies, as well as mosquitoes. Hey, it is just worth a try and just see what happens. Our ruling planet of lavender is Mercury, and the ruling element is the air. So that is a lot of different benefits that lavender has to gift us if we just want to tap into her medicine. Now, while you're in that description box that I've sent you to a couple different times in this video, you're also going to find the link to the full written blog article in case you do want to see all of this in written form. So that is our information about lavender. Now it is time to talk about our feature recipe, which is our lavender facial moisturizer. So this facial moisturizer is pretty simple to put together, I think, and you're only going to need some few pieces of equipment to make it. So you're going to need a digital scale, a couple heat-proof bowls or beakers, a small weigh boat or container for measuring, some whisks, spatula, immersion blender, as well as some thermometers, and you're going to need a hot plate because this is an emulsified formulation. So we are going to head over to the lab and I am going to show you how to whip this up.
Welcome to the lab space. So we are going to begin by weighing out our 3 phases, beginning with phase A. So you're going to want to take a stainless steel bowl or heat-proof beaker, and in there you're going to put 5% of emulsifying wax NF. And then next, you're going to add 2% cetyl alcohol. If you are measuring everything out in the same bowl like I am, be sure to always hit the tare button on your digital scale in between the addition of ingredients. So next we're going to put our oils in. So our first oil is MCT oil, coming in at 3%. And the next oil that I'm going to be using is one that I have infused myself with lavender, hibiscus, and horsetail. You don't need to use an infused oil, but I think that they're fun to add in. So there will definitely be instructions in the blog article on how to infuse your own if you're wanting to make the same oil that I am. But infused or not, you're going to want to add 7% sunflower oil. And then now we are going to add our butter, and that is going to be coming in at 5% cocoa butter. Mine is raw, but you could definitely use a refined version. Once you have all that weighed and measured out, just place your bowl to the side. And now you want to grab another heat-proof bowl or beaker, and you're going to want to add 25% of a lavender hydrosol. And this is going to be making up our phase B, or our heated water phase. % of a peppermint floral water goes in next. If you were wanting to use an essential oil instead of the peppermint floral water, be sure to check out that blog article linked below this video, and I will have instructions under notes and substitutions on how you can do that. %, propandiol 1,3 goes into the beaker next. Now keep in mind I am giving you everything in percentages, so it will be easy for you to upscale or downscale this formulation. Now we want to add 40.5% distilled water. Now, there is one more ingredient to go in here, but I prefer to use a small weigh boat to weigh it out, but you could certainly just sprinkle it over the beaker if you wanted, and that is allantoin powder, and that is going to be coming in at 0.4%. Once you have your allantoin weighed and measured out, you're just going to add it to the beaker and then just give it a whisk to start mixing it up. Once everything is all mixed, you're going to just place it to the side and we will get our final phase weighed and measured out. Now in a small weigh boat or container, you're going to measure out your phase C. That is going to consist of 1.1% of Tristat PCG90. That is my preservative. If you are going to be using a different one, be sure to follow those manufactured recommended usage rates instead of the 1.1 that I'm using. Next, you want to add 1% vitamin E or MT50, and this is our mixed tocopherols and our antioxidant. So the last ingredient is going to be 1% of a lavender extract. If you were wanting to use an essential oil, check notes and substitutions for instructions on how to do so. Once it is all weighed and measured out, you're just going to place this to the side until it's ready to use. So now it's time to put phase A and phase B on the heat, and we're going to want to heat them up simultaneously until they reach 70 to 80 degrees Celsius. So just make sure that you are stirring both phases periodically and checking the temperatures just to make sure that we are going to be in that proper heat range. Once everything has come to temperature, you're then going to want to add your oil phase, phase A, into phase B. It is important that you do it in this order. So once you've added phase A and B together, you're just going to hit it with an immersion blender to get that emulsion started. I like to then just allow it to cool for a few moments so I'm not just spraying hot lotion all over the place. If you find it isn't coming together very nicely, it could be too warm still. So if that's the case, I like to just put the whole beaker in the fridge for just a couple minutes and then get back to hitting it with that immersion blender. As you can see, now it's just getting nice and thick, and this is what we're looking for. So you are then going to want to allow this to cool off in the refrigerator until the mixture is below 40 degrees Celsius. And this is going to ensure that our preservation system and our antioxidant and our extract don't get damaged from the heat. So once I take it out of the fridge the last time, I like to just give it a final stir, make sure that the entire mixture is the same temperature, and be sure to just hit it with your thermometer again, just to make sure that you are definitely below 40 degrees Celsius. Once you are, all you need to do is just add that phase C, and you're going to mix it until everything is just nicely and fully incorporated. Then I like to just place it in the fridge to cool off for a few hours, and then wait a total of 24 hours before packaging it up, because it will take a full 24 hours for this lotion to reach its final viscosity.
It has been 24 hours since I made my moisturizer, and there you go. It is just beautiful. It is soft. It is creamy. It smells good. But you could definitely make some changes to this to suit your needs and maybe just suit the different ingredients that you have on hand. So you could substitute the butter for a different butter. You could substitute the oil for a different oil. You could substitute the floral water or the hydrosol for a different one. Now, you could omit them completely and just add more distilled water. You could add more of the peppermint if you want to increase that cooling sensation. It is fairly light. I didn't want to make it too overpowering, but maybe it's in the middle of summer when you're making this and you just want a little bit more of that cooling effect. I would up that to maybe 10% and start from there. So you could also substitute the propandiol 1,3 for a different humectant. If you were wanting to add essential oils, make sure that you are following the IFRA recommendations regarding any essential oils you are choosing. You do not want to create any skin allergies by using essential oils not in their proper concentrations. And you could also switch out the lavender extract for just a different extract, but then it probably wouldn't be a lavender facial moisturizer, but it could really be anything you want at that point. And lastly, if you were wanting to make the infused oil that I used, you would want to take 7 grams of lavender, 7 grams hibiscus, and 7 grams of horsetail, and you're going to infuse that into 14 fluid ounces of sunflower oil. If you have a Levo herbal infuser like I do, you would just want to set the temperature to 180 degrees for 1 hour. If you don't have an herbal infusing machine, you could use any of the other methods that there are out there on making infused oils. I have a couple linked in the description box below this video. Now, before I let you go, I just want to show you this lotion. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the back of my hand, and I just want to show you how easily this absorbs. Oh, and it smells beautiful, and I'm feeling some just very mild, just a mild tingling sensation on my arm, which is exactly what I was looking for in this moisturizer. So comment down below and let me know, what is your favorite way to work with this herbal ally? How do you like to use lavender? Don't forget to hit the like button if you've liked this video, and maybe share it with anyone else who you think might enjoy it. Consider subscribing to the channel so that we can spend more time together and that you don't miss future videos. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram, so be sure to connect with me over there as well. But I just want to say thanks for stopping by today, and I'll see you next time.